Hey there, so I'm going to do a series of videos on Courseplay, using Courseplay, setting Courseplay up, and we're going to start with really basic. I'm going to, I know I'm not the best, we're going to try and keep it nice and clear and easy to follow, and we'll build up to some of the more, I'd say complex. I don't mean complex. Nothing about Courseplay is particularly complex, but we'll just go from simple courses and we'll build them up later for different applications. So I'm going to start off. We're just going to do a simple course, which we're at the shop now. We're going to do a simple course which takes us from the shop to the lower farm. There are two farms on the Sandy Bay Gold Edition, which is what I'm playing at the moment, and we're going to get a simple course. So if we should buy anything from the shop, all we've got to do is come and hook it on, and then we can run the course, and the tractor will take it to the other farm for us. Right, so you've just downloaded Courseplay. Hang on, let me move my microphone out my mouth. You've just downloaded Courseplay, and you've just dropped it in your mod folder, and you've just started your game. So to bring up the course control panel, Courseplay control panel, you'll need to press the right button on your mouse, and then you should get this screen, I think. Basically, these up the top, these buttons, a lot of them won't be highlighted, as you can see. So we've got, this is like the control, as it says here, so we can record, and we can, when we start going into other applications, some ferting, some drilling and whatever, we can, I'll go more in depth about the fields, how to work out the fields and all that sort of thing later. Then we've got the manage button, which is all of the courses we've recorded, and we can simply load them and play them back. And there's a few more settings here. So we've got the speed settings, which you can change. I'd recommend leaving these alone just for now, and we'll get more into it. If you've got drive control on, I think this is an option. Always use 4-wheel drive, and you can change the button to open this panel. Just click there, I assume. I like it on the mouse. I prefer it on the right button of the mouse. I know a lot of people use whatever they use, but I've got a few mods like GPS and Inspector mod and the Follow Me, and I've got a couple that kind of interfere as it is, but with the right button it doesn't seem to interfere with anything, so I'm a big fan of leaving it on the mouse, and it's nice. So right, so I'm just going to knock. If you want to knock this panel off, you just press the little X. If you've got the panel open, you press the right mouse again, it goes back to the camera mode, but the panel stops up. So right click again will toggle your mouse cursor, and just press the X, and that should turn that panel off. So start the tractor. I'm just going to, I mean, you haven't got to put anything on, but I might as well. I mean, come to the shop, and I'm going to just move this trailer back to the farm. And I'm going to say this now. I've tried to record this video a couple of times, and the one thing I keep saying is, when you're trying to work out courses, give tractors a lot of room. They've got like, if you can imagine like a circle drawn around them. That sort of radius is like a collision detection thing, but the tractors don't always collide. I mean, quite rarely collide, to be fair, but when they get a certain distance of it within each other, they will stop each other from moving, especially if they're in opposing directions. So that's just something to bear in mind. Lots and lots of room, as much room as you can imagine. So I know there's a course which comes in, and it goes, I've been fertilising it. There's a big field just out there, and I've been fertilising it, so I know there's a course which runs down here. So I'm going to start roughly here somewhere, I don't want to be starting over on the right hand side of me, because when you buy some stuff from the shop it kind of appears there, and you might have had a bit of a spending spree and there might be loads of stuff there, so there might be implements or trailers all over where you need to get to start your course properly and easily. So we're just going to start here. It's simple. So what we do then, press the right button. What we're going to do is we're going to press start recording. You can see a dot appearing above my tractor. If you want to turn this panel off while you're recording courses, I mean, you don't have to, you might want to use certain buttons on here and whatnot, but I don't. I'm just doing a simple A to B. I'm just driving to the farm, so I'm going to turn that panel off. Okay, so what you see above is a waypoint, and you'll see the arrow, so that's a start point. Good bit of practice that I've found is the first 3 points you should keep them in a straight line as much as you can. So I've started a fair bit away from the gate. If I'd have started a bit closer to the gate, and so I could have started like by the fuel tank somewhere, I could have started here or something, just for argument's sake. If I'd have gone one point would have been here, and then I could have swung the tractor out like this, and it might have put the second point sort of here. But how Courseplay works, it drives in a straight line from each point, so it wouldn't actually follow the nice curve that I've put, the nice sweeping motion that I've put in it. It just cut the corner, and as Bob Ross would say, you're in agony city. So it'd actually be a useless course, if you know what I mean. You'd have to re-record it or edit it if you've got the editing thing. Agony city. Has anybody else ever used that term except for Bob Ross? And apparently me now. Right, so what I tend to do when I'm recording, I use the cruise control, which is, I use a gamepad, by the way. So in my left hand, I hold my gamepad in my left hand to do the steering, and then with my right hand I tend to use buttons 1, 2 and 3, so I'm controlling the cruise control, the speed. So I'm not going to go full whack, I'm just going to keep it steady. So we've got 1, 2, 3 in a straight line. Now we can start. Can you see that the waypoints become much more frequent? I'm not actually sure why it does that, but I know that it acts slightly differently. The tractor will slow down when you come to the end of a course. It will actually slow down, so it's just how it's set up, I suppose. And in the same way, when it starts again, you've just got to, if you make it straight, it's easy and nothing goes wrong, and so that's why I'm saying do that. So as you can see, I'm driving on the proper side of the road. Well, so that, okay, I'm on an English map, and I'm driving on the proper side of the road. I've got traffic turned off, so it doesn't actually matter which side of the road I drive on. I mean, if for some people are American or European, where they drive on the right hand side of the road. Personally, I prefer to drive on the proper side of the road, so I do that. There's no traffic to interfere, but what you need to do is pick a side of the road and stick to it, basically. And every course then's got to match up, because eventually you've got to look to the future, where you're going to have, you could say you've got like 3 combine harvesters, and then you've got like 5 tractors and trailers emptying off those or something like that. So there's going to be a lot of tractors and trailers on the road, and you don't want them on opposing routes, or you don't want a route where they're getting too close to each other. Just like I keep saying, just give them lots of room. As you can see, I'm more on the verge. Well, I'm just kissing the verge here, so just on. But if you can see the left hand side of the, he's got loads of room on the other side, is what I'm saying. There are certain points, as like bottlenecks and places you just can't help. But when we go into, press the brake on my pad by accident there. Corners, I'll just take a bit of speed off. But when we get into the trailer mode, for emptying the combine, I'll explain a bit more about how to handle the single tracks and how to do certain things. Because I look at it now that Oh, by the way, always drive like you've got a 40-foot trailer on as well, because you never know, especially if you're doing a shop run like this, you never know what you're actually going to be bringing back from the farm. It could be a beet harvest, or it could be a bale trailer, or, you know. So, and I always like to stop and start mine at the same sort of point, so I kind of, you see these triangles that are floating in the air just straight in front of me there. Hopefully you can see them against the sky there. Look, they're just indicators of other courses. I couldn't tell you what that is until I load it, but there's actually one in the field as well. Another one in the fields for mowing. I think this game's about 8 hours old now, so now I'm going to bring this panel up. I'm happy with the course. There was loads of room. I didn't make any mistakes on the road, so I'm just going to stop the recording, and I've turned this setting on just so I can show everybody. But you don't actually have to leave this line on, but you know, you can actually see where your path has been. So we're all happy with our path. I mean, really, I should have moved that out of the way beforehand, but it doesn't matter. We're happy with our path, so we're going to save it, and we're going to give it a name which makes sense. I mean, for single direction journeys like I've just made, they're easy to do. But when you start going into fields and you've got different cultivators and different implements, different sizes, it can get a little bit on top of you if you haven't got a good sound basis for your naming structure, basically. And when we get into the field work, I will explain mine in much more depth and why I do it, and you know. So I'm going shop to lower farm, and that's all I'm going to call that, because that's self-explanatory. So I'm happy with that. I can't actually drive that now because it's, if you look at these little points, they're actually little arrows. So we're obviously at the end. We can't turn it. We can't drive it backwards. So I'll just clear that out of the memory. But I do want one which takes me back to the farm, and I'm just going to start it somewhere where these other ones start. And the reason for this is, I know that if I've got a course which leaves the lower farm, if I put my tractor anywhere in this sort of region, what it does is, if you set it to pick up the first point, which I'll show you the modes in a second, it will literally drive in a straight line to where the point is. So if I'd have started it down here like that, and the point was just above my tractor, it would just run into the fence. There's no AI. It just literally, it's a basic thing where it does what it follows what you record, roughly, kind of crudely. So actually, before we get into playback, I'm just going to record one, and we'll go back to the farm. We'll go back to the shop. So I'm going to do the same sort of thing. I like to record in cab, by the way, because that's how I'm happy driving. So I'm just going to stay at the cab until I've got 3 points, 3 straight line points. There we go. Then we can start turning. We've got our regular waypoints, our more frequent waypoints. I'm just taking it steady because, again, I don't know what tractor will ultimately use this. It might not always be this little low-powered Hurleyman thing. I'm giving a lot of space turning out. I don't want to stop on the opposite side of the road too long though, because it's not important for this particular one, but when we get into the trailers, at some point everything will just align. The universe will align in such a way that two tractors will bloody keep colliding. So you've always got to be mindful of that. That's all I'm saying. Just lots of room. Don't get too close to hedges. It tends to cut slightly on the inside of where you actually make your corner. Oh shit. Sorry. Getting a bit too close to the middle there. That shouldn't matter too much. Not for this course anyway, so we're just tootling along. If you can see in the control panel, we've actually got a few more options available to us. but none of those matter for what I'm doing now. There's a little P which is a waypoint. You've got the little cross in the triangle which is a crossing point. The turn round, and you've got the reverse mode as well, which is the tractor with the arrow above it facing backwards. They've all got particular uses. I use the waiting point a hell of a lot. It's especially if you're doing like carting from fields to farm. It's a very good thing that I use a lot. But when we get into that, I'll explain that. I don't want to overcomplicate anything here. So what we've done then basically is we've chose an idea where we're going. So we've left room at the start of the course to do 3 straight points. We've gone reasonable speeds, assuming that we've got a big trailer on the back. Just pull into here. Assuming we've got a big trailer on the back. We've left load. We haven't crossed into the middle of the road. We've left lots of room, and that's all you can really do. Really, by giving yourself lots of room, you're helping yourself. You're keeping. See, the end goal for me using Courseplay is I want to be able to select a certain tractor with a certain implement, and I can just select the course for that implement and that tractor, press play, and it should do the job without colliding or any drama. That's the kind of end goal. So that's how I look at things. So we've stopped that, and I'm going to save that as well. So I'm going to call that lower farm to shop. So, like I say, this is actually a game. So this will be something I use when I upgrade some things. I've only got 2 tractors and a combine at the moment. I've got a big combine actually, but two starter tractors still. I just realised I'm in the Deutz, not the Hurley man. So, we'll clear that because we can't go backwards. So, yeah, I forgot what I was saying. So anyway, I'm going to play back the one that we made, which was the shop to the lower farm. I'm going to play it back just for a bit, just to show you the corners really. You can see the start and where the actual course properly starts, and hopefully you can see the gap and the gap there. So if I'd have started there and cut the corner, hopefully my mouse is picking up on the screen by the way, or else this will be a load of rubbish. It would have cut, and it's something you've got to remember when you're in the field. You've got to start somewhere with enough space to do your 3, possibly 4 waypoints before you start any sort of turn to come out of a gate or anything like that. Just make it easy for yourself. So, like I say, it'll drive a straight line. We've got 3 different options, but for an A to B course, it actually doesn't matter. It'll literally just join onto any of them. It's going for the first waypoint anyway. So, if you press drive, it'll go in a straight line. It'll go at a low speed, which you can actually edit in the settings later, which is 6. And then once it's established the course, you can see how it's driving from point to point. It's not smooth anymore around the corners. That's just how it is. You can't do it any better. The only way to solve that would be to have many more waypoints, but I don't think they're updating Courseplay. They probably won't update Courseplay again for 2015. I wouldn't have thought so. I'll just show you this while we're here. So you can do you can change the speed from recording to maximum speed. The maximum speed you can edit. So say you you might do a course, but a particular tractor might be slightly too light for what it's pulling or something, and like if it kind of goes off on the corners occasionally, it might pay just to set it at maximum speed and actually bring the speed down slightly. You can change field speeds, turning. The turns are major turns. They're not like a turn, not like a steady turn that we're going around now. I think it's might be over 90 degrees. Or something. I'm not 100% sure, but something like that. And then the BGA is for the biogas. We'll worry about that later. That's actually another handy one. You can turn. We can turn this line off. I've only put this on for so we can actually see what's gone on. When you start, you'll get start and end, which will show those 3 initial points and the the little icon. You needn't worry about waiting time or anything like that just at the moment. 4-wheel drive if you've got drive control, and that's basically it. So we've kept it kind of simple, hopefully, and we can all do A to B tracks now, or point to point tracks, courses. So if you've got any questions or there's anything specifically you're struggling with, obviously as I carry on we're going to go into different modes, different implements, and there's going to be slightly more complex courses. They're not difficult, they've just got a bit more in them, so bear that in mind. Maybe you might have some questions now, but they might be a bit more advanced, which might be answered better in a future video. But leave a comment, good or bad, and let me know. So I'm going to leave this here. Hopefully it's I've recorded this 3 times now. Hopefully it's recorded this time, and if so, I shall see you later, and thanks for watching.